Hey y'all, so we'll get started in around a minute or two here. But in the meantime, we'll just wait for everyone to continue joining. Thanks for being patient. All right, everyone. It's about to be 8:05, so we'll go ahead and get started. Let me just stop sharing my screen really quickly. And let me present my tab. All right. I think you guys can see my ACM projects slide, right?
Yep. Okay.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. We want to officially welcome you guys to the 7th edition of ACM Projects Presentation Night. For those of you who may not know, ACM Projects is a semester-long program dedicated to guide students who are new to software development to create their own app from scratch within a team environment. Tonight, we will see their finished products. My name is Jessie.
my name is Johan. We're the co-directors of ACM projects here at UT Dallas. And we would like to state beforehand, before we introduce everyone else, that really we could not be here without the help of all of our amazing people and team who has been supporting us since our very first day here in projects. So we want to thank our project managers who have worked relentlessly and very hard and truly gave their best efforts throughout the semester to help the experience be memorable and of great importance to every single one of our participants. So first off, we have Sam leading Cloud Ensemble, Sanjeev guiding CalcSend, Ashish managing stand-up, Emily as a project manager for Cookalong, Christina directing Debug, Jack overseeing iDrive.
We have Katie leading When Am I, Afrida guiding Culture, Kendra managing Sign-It, David as the project manager of Gemini, Adam directing Time Capsule, and last but definitely not least, Sahana overseeing Meet Me At. Next, we would like to introduce and thank our industry mentors who have graciously volunteered their time outside of work every week to help our team succeed and learn more about the tech industry. Huge shout out to them for mentoring and impacting the careers of our aspiring tech professionals. We have Kelly from Citi advising CalcSend, Alex from AT&T mentoring Cookalong, Avisha from Amazon Coaching Culture, and Josh from City, Counseling, Debug. We also have Sean from AT&T, advising Gemini, Alex N. from Amazon, mentoring iDrive, Evan from Southwest, coaching Meet Me At, Saman from USAA, counseling Cloud Ensemble.
We also have David from Southwest, advising Sign It, Matt from Oscar Health, mentoring Stand Up, Sid from AT&T, mentoring Time Capsule, and Arash from ResponseFlow, counseling When Am I? Now, before we get to presentations, we do want to introduce and give a special thanks to the judges for coming out and volunteering tonight. We definitely could not make presentation night be presentation night without their help. They are, in a way, like our little Shark Tank. So thank you so much. We have Dr. Gopal Gupta, who is a professor at UTD and the previous computer science department head who has supported ACM for many semesters. We have Gary Schwebel, who is a senior scrum master at Charles Schwab. He has 20 years in the software development industry, taking on various roles from developing to managing. We also have Jessica Westland, who is an experienced campus recruiter from the software engineering program at JP Morgan Chase. She has been in our judging panel for the past 3 editions of ACM projects, and we're really thankful to her for being a proponent for ACM projects. We also have Lavanya, who is a senior manager in the digital and tech organization at CBRE. She has 15 years in the global IT industry and has knowledge and expertise in the sales cloud solutions and the Salesforce.
All right, thank you, Johan, for the introduction. Now is the moment you have all been waiting for. We can already feel the excitement and anticipation. So without further ado, we will kick tonight's presentation off with Team Time Capsule.
Hey guys, can everyone see my screen? Okay, so we're Time Capsule. I'm Victoria.
I'm Alina.
I'm Eddie.
I'm Min.
Hi, I'm Rachita.
Okay, our app is called Time Capsule. Visualize a timeline of your forgotten memories in minutes through a shareable virtual time capsule that unlocks the key to your past. Now I'm going to walk you through a brief overview of the app's features. Sign-in is made easy with the options of Google, Twitter, or your email. Users taking a plethora of photos at any specific event will be able to store them very easily by creating a time capsule. The user can then set a specified date as to when they
Victoria, you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Users create collages with their images to enhance memorability and to provide a more compact interface. We also implemented object detection, which Eddie will explain further in depth later. During one of our first meetings, our team decided that we want Time Capsule to be more of a social media app. We allow for users to create accounts, and you can like and comment on other users' capsules for more interactivity. Now I'm going to hand things off to Min, who's going to go over the capsule feature.
So I would like to highlight 2 key features that we incorporated into our app. The first feature that I'm going to talk about is the unique scroll design. As you can see here, the scroll is very similar to the movement of a clock. Because our app is called Time Capsule, we wanted to symbolize that even though time is passing, memories are still intact through pictures from the past. The second key feature is the ability to set a specific date to post a capsule. You can see this with the animation to the right. Once the user presses the plus button on the top right of their screen, they are prompted to select up to 5 images from their photo gallery. They can also take a picture and select that as one of the 5 images if they want. After the images are chosen, the user can select a date for when they want the capsule to be posted onto the platform. And now I'll hand it off to Eddie, who will talk about our third feature.
Yeah, so we wanted to add another layer to our app, and we decided that the best way to do this was to add an object detection function. We created this function using TensorFlow Lite. What this allowed us to do was to download a pre-created model to our app that allowed us to create a function to determine what the objects in an image were. We implemented this using widgets and a TensorFlow import to analyze each image and return the name determined along with the percent confidence is correct. So for example, as you can see on the left, there's 4 objects in this image and they all have a label associated with them. What you can't see and how we use it in our app is behind the scenes, there's a percent confidence that's returned with each image. So for instance, if you have a dog and you take a lot of pictures with your dog, each image will be returned with a percent confidence that's the dog. If you have something below 80%, that's not something we want to suggest because it could just be a hairy rug. So those images were not used for the object detection function. And now I'm going to hand it off to Alina to discuss the framework and the database we chose.
All right, so when deciding what frameworks we wanted to use for our tech stack, the 2 main choices that we were deciding between were React Native and Flutter. And the reason why we went with Flutter is because React Native, it's really heavily dependent on third-party libraries. And because none of our team really had much experience with either framework, we just decided that Flutter would be a little bit easier to work with because it comes with a lot of UI rendering components like widgets and already has libraries out of the box. So that's why we went with Flutter. And regarding databases, the 2 main contenders were Firebase and MongoDB, which are both NoSQL databases. And we went with Firebase because it is known as like backend as a service, which means it's already built in with a lot of services. You don't have to make HTTP calls. It already has built-in authentication. And because Time Capsule as of now is a pretty small scale project, we decided that Firebase would be our best bet over MongoDB, which is a pretty large document-based database.
Some of the roadblocks we faced while creating our app was connecting our front end with our backend. We designed our app to be as user-friendly as possible. However, at the same time, we had to make sure that the request made by the user was fulfilled by the backend. So this was a challenging task for all of us to overcome. However, by communicating and working together effectively, we connected all parts of our app. The second roadblock we had was to learn Flutter, Dart, and Firebase from scratch. As these frameworks were something that none of us had worked with before, we had to learn all of these from scratch, and we had to accustom ourselves with different packages and dependencies that Flutter had to offer and make key decisions on which packages best suit the functionality of our app. Next, I'll be talking about our future improvements we want to make on our app. We want to add a personalized AI assistant that will help our users to choose which filters or which templates or which music best fits their picture that they're posting. So if you went to a carnival or a party, it would post a party template and party music in the background based on the mood and the theme of the photo. The second feature we wanted to add was a heat map. A heat map would indicate what's trending right now, and the users could effectively navigate which places have which concerts or which places have whatever event is trending right now. We hope that the next time you think of traveling back to your past, you want to relive your memories, you can open up a time capsule. Thank you so much.
Awesome, you guys. We're now going to allow our judges to ask questions. So if any of y'all have a question, just unmute yourself. Thank you.
This is Jerry. I just have a quick question. Where did the idea come from? What sparked this idea?
The way the ACM projects works is when we were interviewed, we were given the option between all, I believe, 12 projects. And so this was an idea that was presented to us in a very basic form. It was just to make a virtual time capsule. And so we were able to take that and kind of just run with it and give it all the little nuances that we did.
Yeah, it's very cool. All right. Thank you.
Hi, this is Lavanya. I have a question. So when doing this project, right, what was the best thing you all found out about your team environment? How did you all work together?
Yeah, I think that like in the beginning, it was a little bit awkward. I think, just doing things virtually and over Zoom, and all of us we somehow chose 10 a.m. as our meeting time. So that also would end up being a little bit of a struggle when certain people would just sleep through a little bit. But I think that we just realized that, not many of us have real concrete experience, and working in a team environment is a pretty unique experience besides, when you're just working on your own on a personal project, and you have certain strengths and other people have certain strengths in specific areas. Ruchita is in the like UI UX club, so she would handle things with front end and we'd look to her for some advice. So I think that just seeing where certain people have some strengths and looking to them for guidance, that was something that at least I learned that is pretty important when working with the team, and one of the advantages of just being in that environment.
Absolutely. That's great. I just wanted to see, in these unprecedented times of, being able to work virtually, I think you guys did a phenomenal job. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Time Capsule. You did an amazing job. And thank you to the judges for asking some questions, some great questions. And next up, we have Cloud Ensemble.
All right, let's get started. Hi, everyone. We are Team Cloud Ensemble. Elizabeth, myself, and Maynard were on the front end. Joseph and Jocelyn worked on the back end, and Sam was our project manager. So what exactly is Cloud Ensemble? It is a music collaboration tool where you're able to take short clips of music and then edit and combine them to make full tracks. The clips can be from anyone, so track making is truly a collaborative effort. There are 5 simple steps to use a Cloud Ensemble. At a quick overview, you first create or browse the clips that you want to use and upload them into the workplace. You can then collaborate and combine all the clips together to make a full track. Now I'll pass it on to Maynard for a quick demo and more on these steps.
Hello everyone, now I'm going to show you how easy it is to use Cloud Ensemble. First, everyone can create a user profile where they can store, upload, and edit clips and tracks all in one place. Next is browsing, where people can find different clips uploaded by different users. Clips have tags associated with each one, which can be usernames, descriptions, instruments, and more. Here are some clips and their tags associated with them. Everyone put their attention in the second column. Let's say that Elizabeth uploaded a video or audio clip of Calen in D with the piano. I can easily search for the piano keyword to find her clip, or even her username to make browsing even faster. Now is the main event, collaboration. Users can upload clips to the site and choose the ones that they need for their project. Let's use an example of a piano duet of the classic Heart and Soul. We need 2 clips, on the left and 1 for the right. The left and the right hand are 2 separate audio clips, and I need to adjust a volume and set a delay for them to sync up. Through collaborative uploading, we will see how to combine them to make a final track. Now here are all the clips uploaded onto the website. The top is the first clip on the left hand, and the second is the second clip. Now I'm going to adjust different properties such as the volume of the clip, and I'll adjust the reverberation and other properties. For the second clip, the right hand, I want to change the delay from 3.6 seconds so it will sync up with the first one. After changing the volume and the reverberation of the clip, we can play it together. Now you can see how Cloud Ensemble allows users to achieve many things, from simply editing audio tracks all the way to collaborating with music, and all without the hassle of emailing audio files to other people or using separate audio editing applications. With a few clicks and drags, anyone will breeze through the process. Now I'm gonna hand it over to Elizabeth to talk about her tech stack.
Hey everyone. So we used Adobe XD to design our web pages, and we implemented those through React. We used Web Audio API in order to merge clips, have the delay, add reverberation, those sorts of things. On the back end, we used MySQL to create a robust search engine, AWS, Java, and Spring to allow for file storing and retrieval. I'm now going to pass it back to Jocelyn as she talks about some of the challenges that we faced.
Hi everyone. During this project, we faced several challenges. The first challenge was to figure out how to store large amounts of audio files so that users can access them, upload them, and delete them whenever they want. Our solution for this was to use an Amazon Web Service called S3 Buckets, which allows you to store large groups of data for your website to access. A second challenge we faced was how to allow users to edit sound files within a web page and then play many clips together at the same time. Our solution to this was to use Web Audio API. This API allows you to specify sound edits such as volume changes or reverb settings, and then play audio clips with those edits straight from a web browser. A final challenge we faced was how to allow the user to search for content on our website. We wanted users to be able to search for clips, tracks, users, and bands all at the same time. To do this, we used a MySQL statement that takes a search query and scores all content on the website based on how well words and phrases match the search query. It then returns everything to the user in a ranked order so they can hopefully find what they're looking for. I'm now going to pass it off to Joseph, who will talk about some of Cloud Ensemble's competition.
Hello, I'm Joseph from Backend. Our main competitors would be BandLab, Soundtrap, and Endless. But out of these, the Cloud Ensemble is by far the most collaborative and the most convenient option. Competitors like Soundtrap and BandLab are convenient because they allow for a web browser, but don't really have the collaborative features that Cloud Ensemble has. Pro Tools is one of the weaker competitors as it doesn't have a web interface, nor does it really have good collaborative features. Our main competitor would be Endless. It is convenient because it is a mobile app and also has collaborative features, but we offer music reusability and social options that they do not. Here are some other things that we also do better. The Cloud Ensemble is accessible. You can make a track in minutes, and it's so easy to figure out how to do so. Next, you can use it through a web browser. You don't have to install extra software, nor do you have to install an app. Also, it's easy to share your work with anyone, even your friends who are not registered. Lastly, we have the best pricing. The Cloud Ensemble is completely free to start off with, but we'll have a premium version available when the platform gains traction.
Once again, Cloud Ensemble is an easy way to collaborate with others to make music. It's easy, it's convenient, and you can make small pieces of music into beautiful tracks. Thank you for your attention, and we'll now open the floor up to any questions you may have.
So just a quick question. This might be a fun one. Do we have some musicians in the group? I mean, what was there some kind of interest in there that kind of said, you know, I can apply my skills here from a music perspective?
Yes, we absolutely do have quite a few musicians in our group, including our project manager. As the first group that presented mentioned, we did get to rank the projects that we would like to join. So we could probably just go around and say what instruments we play. I play flute, saxophone, piccolo, and piano.
I play euphonium and trombone.
I play flute and piano.
I play the piano and violin.
And I play the double bass.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, there's definitely some inspiration here. Great job.
I have a question for you all. I'm not familiar with the other like competing apps, but how do you ensure that the music that's being uploaded or the files is not copyrighted, right? And that it's music, right, that you're creating, and that not an artist is going to come back and say, how dare you take all my music and put it on the platform?
So I'll take this one. The interesting thing about this is it's mostly about taking short form clips into longer pieces of and merging them into longer pieces of music. So we're hoping that by cutting up clips into 40 seconds of music and then combining those into longer pieces, longer tracks, you can avoid having some of the copyrighted music being uploaded, because say a 3-minute song that's copyrighted, they're going to have to split that up into 5 different tracks and go in to merge it. So there's easier ways to upload copyrighted music. So I don't think that Cloud Ensemble would be the first choice for pirating.
All right. Well, that's for all the questions we have for the 2-minute time limit. So thank you guys. Up next, we have Gemini.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anushka Pimple. I'm part of the front-end development team for Gemini, along with my partner Dylan, as well as Ariba, John, and Rachel, who are part of the back-end development team. And we are so excited to show you the concept for our app Gemini, as well as all the wonderful features it has to offer. So we might begin by asking, what is Gemini? Well, our app takes inspiration from the mythological Gemini twins, Castor and Pollux, who were said to be indistinguishable from one another. And similarly, our app takes inspiration in this idea in that you can find a twin for a designer item, but for a cheaper price.
So our app utilizes image recognition to scan images of designer items and find luxury lookalikes. We argue there shouldn't be a paywall to dress how you'd like. In other words, get the look without selling your soul.
When you first enter our app, you will see login or register page where you can choose to sign in with your email, Google, Facebook, or Apple account. Over here, I'm choosing to sign in with Google. And once you successfully sign in, you will be greeted with a homepage with a recommended, trending, and saved section. You can also access your cart to see items, as well as search for individual articles of clothing, such as a t-shirt. At any time, you can also choose to toggle your settings. If you see an item you really like, you can simply click on the item to go ahead and see the name, price, where it comes from, as well as the item's description. Up next, we have the upload your outfit page where you can take a photo of an outfit that you really like. So over here, I'm going to take a photo of this really trendy hat. But if you're really not into taking photos, you can also choose to upload a photo from your device library. So over here, I'm going to choose an image of this $600 Nautoletto red boots and get a match for $59.99 from Nordstrom, saving my wallet. And then in your save page, you can save individual items of clothing or save them in collections. So over here, I have a grunge collection with grunge clothing together. And then in your profile, you can view your basic information as well as view the items that you have recently saved/viewed.
So on the front end side of things, we decided to go with Flutter SDK as our UI toolkit. This decision was based on a variety of factors, but it primarily came down to the ease of use. Flutter utilizes Dart, Google's app programming language, which shares many similarities with JavaScript, a language that both members of the front end team had experience with. Not only that, but Flutter is uniquely built to make an app deployment to both iOS and Android devices as simple as possible. Finally, we saw that the actual app development process on Flutter made it relatively simple to create a gorgeous app, and that's what we set out to do. For our data storage, we decided on Google Firebase as it allows users to access the app through their personal Google accounts. This means that users have an alternative to creating a single-use account and are able to access their Google Drive for actual image uploads.
We wanted to make our app as user-friendly and personal as possible. So you might have noticed on the homepage that we have a recommended for use section as well as a popular items section. We've also added a shopping cart of items in case the user wants to buy any of the items that they've seen. They can also choose to not buy that item just as yet and save that item individually or in categories, kind of creating a Pinterest-like board or an Instagram saved section, something similar.
For the backend, our goal at the beginning of the semester was to allow the user to upload images or have the ability to take direct pictures of whatever product they wanted. Then we also wanted to integrate image recognition machine learning to find matching products to whatever the user inputted. Then also recommending similar products, having a previous search feature, and also allowing the user to create an item category. Then finally, we use Beautiful Soup to web scrape and return attributes like prices, description from whatever identical images we found.
So our initial plan for the backend was an ambitious one because we wanted to implement our own convolutional neural network that essentially would allow our app to return visually similar products. However, we only got far enough with our own network to be able to categorize and label product images based on what they are. But next we have John to explain our experience with Django.
We wanted to use Django for our backend to create login and registration API, but after some further research, we realized that using the Firebase login is way easier to implement than creating our own API on Django and then connecting it to Flutter.
So for our image recognition algorithm, we ended up using the Google Vision API from Google Cloud along with the Python programming language. We found this API much easier in terms of integration and the fact that we didn't have to go through the barrier of training our own neural network. The way this API works is that it returns attributes of a given image, and we decided to use the visually similar images attribute to find matches. At first, we struggled a bit with setting up the Google console and configuring the API for use, since we didn't have much experience with this. However, with collaboration, we were able to figure this out eventually.
Integrating the front-end and back-end code was a daunting yet rewarding task. To relay information between the Flutter front-end and the Python back-end, we used a Python API. Basically, the user can take a photo or upload a photo, and the backend code will run a machine learning algorithm to return the best match. Finally, instead of using a Django login system, we decided to use a Firebase login for Google to allow users the option to log in with Google. This also gives them an easy access to their Google Photos or Google Drive for image uploads. Now I'm going to pass it on to Ariba to talk more about our future improvements.
In order to continually improve our app, we would like to train our own neural network to be more accurate for the backend, as well as to integrate shopping directly from the app. We also have plans to improve the user experience, such as by adding the ability to see reviews and to provide outfit recommendations based on previous searches using machine learning.
This is Gemini. With the click of a button, find a twin for a designer piece at an affordable price. Finally, you can get the look without selling your soul. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. This is Lavanya again. So how are you securing your payment gateway? Because this is an e-commerce site, right?
So currently, right now, what we do is we link the user to where that image URL is from, and then it redirects to that website to buy directly from the website.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nice presentation. Yeah, and the color scheme is really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions from our judges?
I'll just quick plug. I love your catchphrase. I think that's that's a great way to just start and end. It's very clever. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great presentation, Gemini. Thank you so much for presenting. Our next team is When Am I?
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our app presentation. So our app is called When Am I? And we want you to find your place in history. So a little bit about who we are. On the back end, we have Swarita and Dhruv working full stack. We have Jaden and me, Abdullah, as well as Annika. We're working on the front end. So now I'll hand it off to Dhruv to tell you all about our app.
So let us know if you fall into any of these categories. Do you feel like you're stuck at home? Do you feel like you have nowhere to go? Are you longing for a sense of adventure or exploration? Well, chances are most of you fall into one or more of these categories, especially during this pandemic. Now, how do I know? Well, my team and I conducted several science experiments and deduced a mathematical formula. And it's a pretty simple one at that. Person plus exploration equals happy. Person plus home equals sad.
And the solution to that problem is When Am I? Our app provides the easiest method of finding interesting historical locations around yourself, whether you're just browsing from home or actually going out and exploring for yourself. When Am I has you covered. It's as easy as pulling up our map to view markers where you can learn more about them, or you can even go there and visit the location for yourself. Now we can move on to a full demo of our app.
All right, so when the user first downloads our app, they are greeted with this typical login screen. It is just like any other login screen with our app logo on the top, as well as our app name and options to put in your email and password. And you can log in, register, or skip the step completely. So let's say we want to log into our account because it was already existing. So we can just log in, and as you can see, we are currently in the middle of Texas, and in a 10-mile radius, we only have 9 markers that render around us. So we can increase that radius to 25 miles, and we'll get 35 markers that render around us. So let's zoom in to our location. If we look over here, we can see there's different icons for different locations. So as you can see, over here is a courthouse, and it has a building icon. Over here is a cemetery, and it has a cemetery icon. And if we zoom in nearer to our own location, we can see that on the left-hand side, we have a war icon. On the right, we have another building icon. And in the middle, we have a miscellaneous icon. So let's go to the war icon. As you can see, this opens up an event page. And on the top, you have a description of what the location is. So as you can see, this is a little bit about General Ben McCullough. On the bottom, you have a little description about who he was and what he did. So let's say we wanted to actually visit the location for ourselves. We can click on the Go There button, and we'll get a prompt asking us which app we'd like to use. We'd like to use Google Maps, so we could select that, and now we'd get directions to our location. So back to our app, let's say we went to that place, we visited the location, we can check this little box over here and navigate back to the user page.
So on our user page, you can see that that general was involved in both the Texas Revolution and the Civil War. So that's been tracked under those categories. Also under previously visited, the location is there now that you actually went there.
So now let's take a look at our search aspect. As you can see on the top, we have a couple tags where historical events and historical markers will render, especially based off of which one you pick. So we picked the Texas Revolution, and events close to Texas Revolution occurred. So let's say we go to the search bar and type in Murphy. We're going to end up having a couple places either in Murphy or places with the name Murphy in it. So let's say we go ahead and click on the Murphy building. We get the description, the Go There button. Now let's say we went ahead and visited it.
Now, once again, that location has been added to your total statistic, and these stats just let users try and collect different categories, and it makes it a bit more fun to explore. Now we're done with our tour, and we can go ahead and sign out.
So for our tech stack, we decided on using Firebase for our backend. Specifically, we use real-time database to track our markers, especially the coordinates and the names and tags. We use Firestore and Firebase authentication to be able to track and score our users. And in our front end, we use React Native as well as the Google Maps API to display our maps.
Now, no great app comes without its own set of challenges, and we had challenges in both the back end as well as the front end. So on the back end, we had an issue switching from MongoDB to Firebase because we realized that Expo did not support MongoDB. So this all worked out in the end, though, because the Firebase database was actually easier to implement in our app anyways. We also had challenges in the front end. So for one, displaying the map markers, because in the database, the coordinates were stored as UTM coordinates, when in the front end, we needed to convert them to latitude and longitude to display them on the map. Also, we had issues navigating from the marker to the event page and sending the data with it.
To grow our app further, we'd like to implement user-written reviews and user-taken pictures for each historical site. We'd also like to ultimately expand to show locations outside of Texas and maybe even the US.
Now that we gave you the exploration to your equation, all you need to do is find your place in history. So thank you so much for listening. Do you have any questions?
I one question, but first a quick comment. I think this is very, you know, if you take a road trip with your parents, I wonder if the kids in the road trip would love this app or hate it, just because they were stopping every step along the way. I think it's absolutely very clever to tie this to the pandemic. I think a lot of us want to get out of our homes, so that was a very good idea. The question I have is the data that you're getting from this. Is this something that you're maintaining, or is this something that you're sourcing from somewhere? And is it? Well, I'll stop there and ask that question.
Yeah, so the data that we actually got was from the Texas Historic Site Atlas. And so it gave us historical markers based off all the counties within Texas.
Great. Thank you. By the way, I love the idea. I'd love to take this with me on a road trip with my kids.
An excellent idea, getting it all in one place with the maps and the venues and the directions. I'm sure a lot of people will love it. Nice work.
Any more questions? All right. Well, if there's no more questions, then we can move on to iDrive. Thank you so much, guys. You did really good.
You would think after months of online school, I'd get used to how to operate a computer. All right, let's get started. Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Rishi Surampudi and I'm here with Christian Cruz and Jake Span. And we'd like to welcome you to iDrive, a new way to get on the road without ever leaving your home. You see, driving is like diving into the deep end of a pool, except there are sharks and they give you a ticket for not using your blinker. There are just so many factors to consider. And this is where iDrive comes in, an educational simulator designed with one goal in mind, to bring the real world to those who want to learn at their own pace. We created iDrive with real world roads and buildings, making it as realistic as possible to give the user the feeling that they're actually driving. Implementing features as basic as acceleration and braking all the way to weather conditions and check engine lights. iDrive is truly an immersive experience. You know what? Let me just show you. Seems my Wi-Fi is a little slow.
Now we're really excited to show you a quick look at iDrive. Now let's take a look at how we got to this great result. We first wanted to select a solid foundation, and after considering a few options, we ultimately decided to build iDrive on top of Unreal Engine. This enabled us to have even more control over iDrive's realism and mechanics. In order to provide another critical part of iDrive, we turned to OpenStreetMap. This gives us free access to roads, buildings, and other information to build into iDrive's map. Next up, let's take a look at a few specific features. And the first one is the map. So the map is a critical piece of iDrive. And this required us to use real data. To achieve this, we first wanted to build a real solution that could read data on the fly, though we ran into some technical issues that didn't fit within our constraints. So then we looked to the open source StreetMap plugin. This integrated with our existing development tools and enabled us to create a prototype map of UT Dallas in minutes. This gave us a lot more time to make our other features even better.
To enhance the simulation, we could modify the plugin. That way all the buildings have their own individual unique texture instead of sharing the same visual effects. We could also leverage a satellite image API to generate landscapes such as hills, slopes, and rivers.
Now, perhaps the most unique aspect of driving is the vehicle that you're in. Anyone who's driven more than one car can tell you that each is a completely unique experience. And Unreal Engine gave us a vehicle that quite frankly looked like a dune buggy, and we decided to make our own car to make it more realistic. We modeled it in Blender and rigged it there as well. Then we brought it into Unreal where we added collisions and the actual physics of the movement. We were able to add headlights and brake lights along with turn signals that are activated by the user. An obstacle that we faced was that the physics of the vehicle are relatively simple, meaning that when moving over uneven surfaces, the wheels act as one unit instead of individually like a real car would.
To enhance the experience of first-person view, we can go ahead and implement an interactive dashboard that could help you press buttons and manage the music and see car warnings. For personalization, we could give different cars, each with different car physics. And to further the simulation even more, we could implement car maintenance and damage.
Now those new features are going to push iDrive even further, and what better to complement the vehicle, the environment around it. If you've ever driven in heavy rain or dense fog, you'll know that these conditions can significantly affect your driving behavior. So because of that, we decided it was crucial to build these into iDrive as well. As you can see here, we've included rain, fog, and clear conditions so users can safely practice in these challenging scenarios.
We want to make iDrive as realistic as possible, and our environment is a very crucial aspect of this. Going beyond wind, rain, and fog, we want to add weather conditions such as night and day, as well as adding other objects such as sidewalks, streets, and signs and trees. We also plan to incorporate NPCs to populate the road and even add random emergency vehicle scenarios to test practice. Our goal is to make iDrive as realistic as possible to equip the driver with the knowledge and experience they need to tackle any road condition.
Now, with all of these great features on the roadmap, we're really happy with where iDrive is going, but we did encounter a few roadblocks getting to where we are now. First, we earlier mentioned that we use a street map plugin to build our map, though we also considered a tool called Side Effects. This promised great graphics and native support for the data format that we are already using, although we ended up finding out there were unforeseen licensing constraints with that. And additionally, one of our team members unexpectedly left, and this required us to refocus our project.
Now, the core of any startup is how you're going to make money off of this. iDrive's business model is unique in that it is a combination of utility and entertainment. Our base audience goes beyond just those who want to play this for fun or learn at home. We focus primarily upon drivers at institutions, both private and public. We would make this a free download for anyone who wants to play the game, but add a yearly license for purchase where you could get advanced functional features as well as features such as instruction monitoring and assigning practice scenarios for students so that you can monitor their progress as we go on. This ensures consistent review from not only returning customers, but as well as new customers as our consumer base expands and continues to grow.
As of now, the game is limited to driving in UTD's campus area. However, with the new business model, we could potentially afford hosting our own server of the API. This will allow us to escape any file size limitations from the OpenStreetMap servers so that we can distribute any location to the game. Then, in order to appeal to our clients and drivers ed, we could implement in-game tutorials and increase the accessibility by making the game available on more platforms. Thank you for joining the presentation. We're now open to any questions.
A great idea. I really like this. I do have a question. I don't know if I caught, but how exactly, like if I were to use this, would I be doing it on my computer? Would I be doing it on my tablet? And how would I be actually like trying to drive the vehicle?
So this is where, so right now, this would be like a downloadable package for your computer. It'd be like any other game where you just play it on your computer. But the beauty of using Unreal Engine is that there's a lot of expansion capabilities for us. We could add an Xbox controller to control it. Or like, if you guys have gone to like those gaming conventions, there's a full setup with a gas pedal and a brake pedal and the full steering wheel. There's just so many possibilities where we can add so that no matter what kind of user you are, what your setup is at home, like the game adapts for your setting.
Perfect. I mean, it sounds great, especially with like implementation of VR, right? There's so many things that can make
the possibilities are truly endless.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job, guys.
Nice work. And will this help me drive around in UTD? I always seem to get lost every time I come to your university.
Well, I guess one of the capabilities is to understand the maps, you know, learn the roads a little bit better.
Right. So a follow-up question, right? So one of your teammates mentioned that in the midst of the project, one person left. So how did you all manage the expectations of still meeting your deadlines with the loss of a team member?
Yeah, so yeah, we did have one person that left, although in this case that happened fairly early on. So while that did require us to reconsider our scope and potentially cut a few features, it really came down to deciding who could do what and which things are most important. So we found we only had to reduce our feature set by a little bit in order to still get the product we wanted.
I'd also like to add on to that to say that in a way that it helped us refine our vision for iDrive because we understood what is truly important for a driving simulator. We worked on making those as clean and as functional as possible. And then that kind of helped us understand what sort of other features we can add upon that.
Right. Yeah, I think I was looking for that word prioritization, right? That is what sometime in the business world, we are like, okay, we try to do everything and we get, we don't give a quality product. So making sure you prioritize your work when you crunch for resources is very important. So, nice. Good work.
Yeah, this is great work. There's definitely some passion there. I get a sense there's some gamers in the group, and just to latch on to what Lavanya mentioned also, in the business world, if you're passionate about what you're doing, if you're very knowledgeable in it, you tend to generate a better product. So there's very clean, very well done. I bet you guys are going to have fun with this even after this project is done.
Thank you.
Very great points you guys made, iDrive. Thank you so much. That's all we have for questions. Next up, we have Debug.
All right. Hello, everybody. We are Team Debug, and my name is Diego De La Rosa.
Angelo Monsión.
I'm Sid Siobhan.
And unfortunately, one of our team members could not make it tonight, but we did just want to go ahead and mention his name. His name is Danny Vu. So I'm going to start this off by telling a bit of a story. I have a friend named John Smith. Now, John Smith here is brand new into the world of CS. He has never seen or touched an IDE or even let alone coded. He opens up his first IDE that his professor instructed him to use, and he sees this. This is what a lot of people see whenever they first enter into the CS world. They get introduced by seeing this cluttered IDE that's very not user friendly. It's very daunting, especially when you have no prior experience, and it discourages a lot of young programmers. So what's the solution then? The solution then is Debug. This is our web app that we have been working on for the past couple months. As you can see, it's a lot more simple and just a lot more inviting for new users, new coders, and programmers. So what is Debug then? Debug is a real-time collaborative code editor, which essentially means you can code along with other people at the exact same time. Think of it like Google Docs, but with syntax highlighting for various coding languages. Now I'm going to pass it on to my partner Sid for how we created the app.
So in order to build our web application, we used a variety of tools for development and hosting. We used React for UI and Node to host our JavaScript environment. In our later versions, we used Firebase as a place to store our users' documents. And then in our final version, we used AWS's EC2 service as a place to host our web app publicly. Now I'm going to pass it on to Angelo to discuss our UX.
We wanted to make the user experience as simple as possible. The user must log in before using the product so that any progress is saved. The three basic authenticators are Google, GitHub, and Facebook. We do support more, which as you can see to the right, the user can change accounts at any time. After the user has logged in, the client can then check out the homepage for additional information and start sharing their code at a click of a button. Inside the editor, the user is able to switch throughout their stored files in our database. Additionally, the implementation of a quote editor is able to render syntax highlighting to any language. Once again, our goal is to make the user experience feel seamless as possible. So we thought about creating a premium video conference so that the client can connect with like-minded individuals. As you can see, we have three models. Free, which does not include the access of file upload and download, file structures, and a video conference. However, a premium and enterprise models gain the feature of a video conference. Lastly, students are able to gain free access through the university email. My teammate Sid will now take over and discuss how we see it being used and how we stand out from our competition.
So we see Debug as being primarily a tool used in the education and industry workspaces. Our IDE is perfect for high school and college students beginning to program. It's also great for interviewers conducting searches in the job market. Additionally, Debug is great for anyone just looking to collaborate with team members or wanting to brainstorm on their own in a simple, uncluttered environment. So some advantages of our product include it's far easier to use than conventional IDEs. There's no need to install compilers, and there are no unnecessary features that could overcomplicate things for new people. This makes it perfect for novices and students. However, our primary advantage is that we see CS as a vastly growing field. As you may know, the CS market is one of the largest job fields right now,
and we think we are perfectly positioned to take advantage of this in an education and industry workspace. Now I'm going to pass it on to Diego to discuss further.
So as it stands right now, Debug has a lot of improvement that can be made to be better suited for the industry. For example, we would like to add a video conferencing tool for our premium and enterprise packages. We we would also like to add the ability to download and upload files. We would like to add online compilation and expand on Quill's feature set to just improve the coding experience. Once Debug sees its full potential I'm certain my friend John Smith will have a much better introduction into coding by using Debug. Any questions?
Okay, you're tugging at the heartstrings from a low-level developer and kind of avoiding the IDEs and going straight to, I admire those that go straight to Notepad and start doing some development there and just seeing what you can do there. Notepad++ now. How do you plan on kind of pushing the market to the people kind of like your John Smith? What would have been your kind of pitch for that? I got the business model. How would you kind of get their attention?
I think I can take that one. I think one of the things we're really interested in doing is involving this product with the education space. So perhaps by collaborating with colleges and universities and offering this through an enterprise model so that the students can have it for free. This would really encourage them to fall in love with this as opposed to something that's more clunky like Notepad++ or code blocks. I think this is far more likable.
Very good. Thank you. Great job.
How would this compare to some platform like Kahoot? That also has a lot of programming stuff on it, right? But how do you think you have an edge here?
I think I got this one. Kahoot is usually utilized towards more like quizzes. Am I right?
Yeah.
In those cases, we're more suited to, for example, if you were to apply this for recruitment, usually recruiters use another video application and a code editor for the user to be able to, for their client or the interviewer, a person being interviewed to be able to work. Well, this prevents academic dishonesty, so it combines both of them at the same time so that the interviewer can see what the person who's being interviewed, what are they typing at simultaneously, so that they don't see any plagiarism or anything further that kind of distract it from the interview.
Okay. Nice work. Looks interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions. So thank you so much once again. Up next, we have Cultured.
Wow, I sure would like to go to Egypt, but Corona happened and now the grocery store is a foreign land. I guess I'll never get to know what Egypt is like.
Wait, don't you know about our website? It can totally help you tour Egypt virtually. Hello everyone, I'm Arushi from Cultured. My teammates Brian, Claire, Jordan, Zachary, and I have worked pretty hard over the past few weeks to make this idea of Cultured into a reality, which we're pretty excited to show it to you guys. So, what is Cultured exactly? Basically, Cultured is a web app that aims to fully immerse the user in the culture of a country that they choose. So users can look up a country that they want to visit in the front page and then click on the country to find out more information about it. And if you don't know which country you want to visit, don't worry, you can click on the random button and we'll choose the country for you. And each country has its own page, so users can get to know fast facts about the country, the time zone, recipes for local food, national news, traditional attire, cultural education, and popular tourist spots in that country. And information in these country pages is very up to date, and this is because we've used many APIs. And next up, we have Jordan with the live demo of our website.
Allow me to introduce you to Cultured. When you load up our URL, this is the screen that meets you. We have here a map with colors representing the countries you can visit on our webpage. We have some buttons that you can use to link to visit certain countries. We have our mission statement and our logo at the bottom. Now, we're a new user. We've never been here before. We do not know where it is we want to go. So we're going to select this Visit Random button up here at the top and allow the website to choose for us the country we are going to visit. We have been brought to Nigeria. You can see here the Nigerian flag, some information about the country, including the time zone, some fast facts, some relevant news from the country, served fresh by our APIs, some foods, some recipes that are commonly made in the country, some information about culture and clothing and music from the country, as well as some interesting locations that you can visit if you were to visit this country. Now, we've seen this country. We've visited Nigeria. We're ready to return, so we can hit this previous button here to return. And now I saw in the chat a very excited Italy. So we're gonna have to visit Italy, but unfortunately, we don't know what continent Italy is on. So we're gonna have to search for it. We're gonna look for ITA. Oh, we are in luck. There is only one Italy. So now we're visiting Italy. As you can see, we have the Italian flag, some Italian foods that are commonly cooked in Italy. We have, again, some information about the country, some interesting locations, and some fresh news from the area. Now we're ready to move on again, but we just got a notification that we have to visit the kitchen. So we're gonna have to switch to mobile to continue our journey onto our next country. We actually visited India, satisfying another person in the chat. We have the Indian flag. We have some Indian food, some news, and some music. We have some interesting locations. And again, we have our front page with our big old map, and we have our dynamically rearranging containers and stuff that match different sizes of our web page to give the optimal experience for our users. And now we're going to head on back to Zach with our tech stack.
So for culture, we did most of our coding in JavaScript. For our front end, we used the React.js library, so we could have a single template for our many different country subpages, and also to prevent excessive page load due to our constantly updating API information. We used React Simple Maps as a library to create that searchable map you saw on the front page, and we used Bootstrap for our layout, formatting, and mobile compatibility. For our backend, we used Node.js, specifically the Express framework, to create a quick and easy base for our server. And we used several APIs to get data from specifically Spoontacular for our recipe data, YouTube data for our YouTube videos, and contextual web search for our news stories. We store data both for directly presenting on the website and also to send as search parameters to our APIs in MongoDB. Now, Brian's going to talk about some of the challenges and obstacles we faced and how we overcame them.
So as a group, we had the challenge of figuring out how our routing would be applied to our application, which was difficult due to a lack of familiarity on how the tech stack works together. We were able to overcome this challenge by dividing a larger issue into smaller tasks and categorizing them based on which members had the most experience working with that task. In general, our group had to figure out how we were going to integrate the individual components of the project into one cohesive product. The front-end team specifically had the challenge of creating a good user experience and functionally integrating it with the rest of the application. This was solved by breaking down the code piece by piece and restructuring it so that it would work properly with the back-end code. This, of course, was made possible by keeping open lines of communication between the front and back-end teams and working together to see the results of our final product. Next, Claire will talk about our application's competitive advantage and future goals.
The two pictures show a website of the competitor Comisia Global, which is a less interactive web page where they only have buttons of countries and display the information of each country using a list. Differently from the competitor, we created the website using the aesthetically functional design, such as interactive map that allows the user to virtually see the location, and cards to organize the country information that allow the user to read and consume the information easier. Another advantage is that our website is continuously updated through the use of APIs, which allows the user to listen to the music from the country and learn by viewing the video that is up to date. For the future goal, the first future goal is to create a user login system that allows the user to create an account to keep track of countries they visited. Adding this functionality allows the website to track the countries they visited that should be eliminated from the random countries button. The second goal is to implement the translation feature where the user can learn new language while learning about the culture. Our third goal is to create sponsored links from the seller on our webpage that allows the user to purchase products or services from the country. In conclusion, the user can learn and immerse themselves into different cultures around the world from anywhere by using our user interactive website. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. So how did you collate all your information about the different countries? Are you using external APIs or you're storing the information locally in your database?
So I can talk a bit about the APIs we use. We did get some information just from normal research, but for our recipe information, we use the Spoontacular API. For the YouTube videos you saw, we use the YouTube Data API. And for the news stores, we use the Contextual Web Search API. And then for the interesting locations that you can visit, we used the Open Travel Map API.
Nice work. Someone's really interested in cultures and traveling. That's pretty awesome. Nice work.
I'm sorry, you were cutting out a bit. Could you repeat the question, please?
I said someone's really interested in traveling and, they seem to love it. So I said, nice work.
Thank you very much. Yes, we're all very interested in the culture of other countries.
I think this is great. I think one thing, right, when we talk about diversity inclusion, right, and being more socially aware is that sometimes when someone's not familiar with a culture, they can shy away from it, and that can hinder the idea of being inclusive, right, and understanding. And so something like this, right, in your back pocket, just to say, hey, I'm from this country, I don't really know much about it, and being able to look in takes away some of the fear of the unknown. And so I love this as being kind of a gap and a bridge to try and make, I think, different cultures feel a little bit more accessible. So I love this idea. Great job, guys.
Thank you very much.
I can't agree more, Jessica. I think as we are growing in an evolving world, right, where we have to work with different geographies, knowing cultures, removes the, uncomfortable feeling that we have when working with each other.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, great job.
There's some great points and great interaction from you guys' culture. So thank you so much. That's all we have for questions. Next up, we have Calen.
Hey there, guys. So you guys should be seeing with fixed screen now. All right, you ready to present? All right, Cameron, ready when you are. Ready when you are, Cameron.
Oh, God, this calculus homework is so hard. Oh, God, please, someone help me.
Cameron, have you really never heard of Calen before?
I have not.
Well, I'm here today with Mad Gods Abigail, Rutvik, Aaron, and myself, Mustafa, to show you why Calen is godsend. Let's get into it. Calen is a powerful collaborative calculator with 3 core components. The first step is to enter your equation or problem into the calculator. It can be as simple as 4x equals 8 or as complex as integrals. After hitting enter, Calen displays the steps to your solution, bringing the best readability to you. Lastly, you can collaborate with our community, whether it is to share insights or publish your own custom formulas. It's as simple as EDC. Next, Abigail will talk about the features of Calen.
Thank you, Mustafa. I'm Math God Abigail, and Calen has a myriad of features. At the center of the page, users can enter any equation or problem into our all-form calculator. With common symbols like the integral and sigma symbol, users are able to compute higher-level equations than the average calculator. Through user authentication, users can contribute to Calen's forum pages because why should math be done alone? As Mustafa mentioned, Calen's forum page allows users to reach out to others for guidance, debate when to use certain concepts, and to post their own formulas for others to use. Lastly, with each equation entered, not only does a solution appear, but a list of steps so users can understand how to solve their problem in an easy and digestible manner. But don't let me tell you about Calen. How about you see it for yourself? When looking at how the website functions, users immediately are presented with the Capsule calculator. Through preset buttons, users can input complex symbols not available on the standard keyboard in order to input a wide variety of equations. Once satisfied, users press the Enter button and the problem solution appears in the result window. If the user would like to understand how the solution works, the user will then be prompted with a Show Steps button after calculating their answer. Once this button has been pressed, a container will open listing the steps in chronological order in order for users to gain a comprehensive overview of the problem solution. Beyond the main calculator, users can both visit and contribute to the website's forum page and explore more information concerning the website and its construction team. For example, we have a forum post here done by Rutfit explaining how to easily learn integrals that would help Cameron on his calculus homework. Now on to Aaron.
Thanks, Abigail. Hi there. I'm Math God Aaron with the Tech Stack. In the front end, we use React, an open source JavaScript library meant to build single-page applications. We didn't use another framework like Angular because React allows for reusable UI components and updates users' changes dynamically, offering an exquisite user experience. In the backend, we use Node.js, a server-side runtime environment for web apps. We chose Node over a language like Python to develop a real-time web app and utilize event-driven I/O for a multitude of users. Lastly, we use Firebase for its built-in user authentication and because it is easily scalable to millions of users. Now on to Rithvik for our competitors.
Thank you, Aaron. Now, as far as competition goes, our most prominent competitor is Symbolab, but CalcSend is unique from Symbolab in a couple ways. Firstly, Symbolab doesn't contain a forum page. By including a forum page, CalcSend is more than just a calculator, it's a community. Secondly, the navigability of Symbolab is quite obstructing. A lot of the features are hidden from the home page, which makes it difficult to find them. On CalcSend, the majority of the features are on the page, providing a more user-friendly experience. Lastly, Symbolab is not completely free. Users have to pay an annual fee of $29.99 to unlock premium features such as displaying substeps to a solution. Now, if you ask me, that just sounds like the devil's work. CalcSend provides that same premium experience free of charge. Now, we face several challenges while developing CalcSend. For instance, aesthetically displaying symbols on the equation bar was a major challenge. We used React classes to map the pressed button to its Unicode counterpart symbol to enhance the user experience. Another challenge was parsing Wolfram Alpha's API response, as the format of the response was dependent on the type of equation sent to it. To resolve this, we stored a list of potential keywords used in the responses to fetch the data we needed. And of course, merging front end and back end is always a challenge.
Ooh, Cameron here again. I just want to say that the entire app looks amazing. I do have some great ideas for the future though. For example, uploading existing formulas as templates on the app would allow users to learn more about the formula and only type the numbers for the formula variables instead of the entire equation. Also, it would be awesome to add optical character recognition. Snap a picture, click a button, and learn more about your solution to your problem, saving you the time and hassle of typing equations manually.
Wow, those are some really great ideas, Cameron. The math gods are looking forward to implementing these in the future. But for now, this is CalcSend, our solution to your problem. Thank you for watching our presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Because we have an answer.
All right, so wonderful mathletes in the house. That's awesome. I have one more to add to Cameron's list, maybe. As a parent of high school kids who are taking calculus, I would love this CalcSend application. What would you say kind of is your biggest challenge? Was there a problem that you couldn't figure out or solve, and how did you get around that?
Yeah, one of the largest challenges we had was, well, I had personally in the back end, was the parsing of the Wolfram Alpha API. It turns out to be surprisingly complicated because depending on what kind of information you input, say maybe a polynomial equation versus an integral, you get very different results. And as such, I still have not been able to 100% flesh out it. So it still needs some work to become completely robust, but it is coming there, and I think it is coming quite well.
Thank you. Great job.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Just a comment. I would agree with Jerry. I have a high schooler too. I'm sure he'd love this app. He struggles with calculus, so I'd love to use it.
As do we all.
Exactly.
Kind of inspiration.
That honestly, just designing everything, since we're all taking different math courses, some of us taking the same, we're able to use some things that we often struggle with or our favorite features of other websites or pretty much on our calculator to design our own website.
Yeah, and to sort of add to that, that was sort of also our inspiration behind the app, right? You know, you've got web apps with the same sort of features, right? But I guess the advantage with CalcSend is comparable to like getting your car fixed, right? So would you rather go, I mean, I guess the question I'd like to pose is, would you rather go to 3 different places to get your car's engine repaired, you know, get the interior fixed and get a car wash? Or would you rather have all of those done in one location, right? So in that way, I think CalcSend is a conglomeration of like a plethora of features that offers a more exquisite user experience than other websites.
You should probably try introducing it in schools. You know, I'm sure the teachers would love it too.
Yeah, for sure. That would definitely help a lot of students.
Awesome job, you guys. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions, but you guys were making some really good points. So thank you once again. Up next, we have Meet Me At.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meet Me At, where planning is made simple. I'm Austin Mondru, and I'm here with Trinity Kaushik, Nick Burnett, and Sam Owens. Meet Me At is the one package deal for all of your planning needs. Stay up to date with all of your events and their corresponding information. See who is coming, if the host allows it, what you need to bring, and where and when to meet. Now I'm going to hand it off to Sam to talk about the features of the app.
With Meet Me At, users can create events, both virtual and in person. They can also manage their schedule by storing important dates in the database. An event host can share their events with friends or colleagues just by entering their username. They can also be added to the guest list of others' events, and the app will automatically organize these events and sort them by date, allowing users to easily keep track of what's coming up. Now, Trinity is going to provide a live demonstration of some of these awesome features.
All right, thanks, Sam. So as you can see on the simulator I have pulled up, this is our main login screen, and here you're able to create an account, but I'm gonna go ahead and log in with my account that I already made. Oops. Okay, log in, and once this loads, you should be able to see our home screen. And here you should be able to see a list of all the events that we have stored in my calendar right now. So we've got the darker red events, which are the ones that I'm hosting and that I created in my calendar. And we've also got the lighter pink events, which are the events that I was invited to by a different user. We've got 3 separate tabs here where you can sort through the events and view a select few group of events if you don't want to view your whole calendar. We've also got all these events as clickable components where it'll direct you to an event details page where you're able to see all the different details like the host, the date, the location, a description, and a list of all the different guests that are attending. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new event. So I'll just say Thanksgiving dinner. And I'll set the date to Thanksgiving, which I believe is the 26th. And the end date will be the same. And I'll say the time as 8:15 to 9:15. Great, and I'll say the location is Zoom, I guess, since it'll be a virtual dinner this year. And for the description, I'll just put Happy Thanksgiving. And for the guests, I'm just gonna add all my teammates using their usernames. And Austin. Okay, and now I'm gonna save the event. And as that's updating, I'll just show you all the profile page. So this is our page that shows you all the details about your account. You can change your information. So for example, if I change my name and I log out and I go back, it's changed in the database. So I'll just change it back. And the event that I created should be showing up right here, Thanksgiving dinner. And if you click on it, you should be able to see the details with all the guests that will be attending. So that was our main gist of our app. So I'll be passing it off to Sam now to talk more about our development process.
To develop Meet Me At, the team used a popular industry tech stack known as the MERN stack. This tech stack utilizes MongoDB for data storage and Node.js with Express on the back end. MongoDB was chosen over Firebase because although it proved difficult to implement, it provides greater long-term scalability. Front-end development with the MERN stack would typically be done in React.js. However, one thing that makes Meet Me At unique is that instead of React.js, the front end was developed in React Native. This is to make planning on iOS, Android, and the web simple. Now, Nick's going to talk about the future of the app.
So continued expansion and improvement is a large part of any industry level app. For Meet Me At, the biggest expansions that make sense are adding integrations with modern mobile GPS apps and direct linking to online meetings, applications such as Zoom. In terms of monetization, our app gives us a unique opportunity to connect with the local community. Companies will have the opportunity to sponsor local events that appear in everyone's event list. Potential cosmetic quality of life additions through in-app purchases could include creating events using just your voice through Siri or different color schemes. Some major roadblocks during our development and integration process included issues with visual lag, integrating modules into React Native from Node.js, and visual compatibility with iOS and Android. Of course, all of these problems, especially our issue with visual lag, were solved with in-depth industry standard solutions.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for joining us. Any questions?
The design looks really great. The interaction and the way that you can kind of move around the application seems very, very good. I think it's nice to see a live demo as you kind of type in everything in there. That was pretty good. Was there something that you pulled into the choice of using this application as opposed to something where you can compare it to, let's say, the Google Calendar? Did you try to say, I'm going to take this and make this a little better by doing it this way?
Definitely. So our slogan is planning made simple, and that's really what we aim to do. We try to provide a simplified UI that just shows you the events you've created and have been added to. So it's really just what you care about instead of a calendar. We also are trying to add Google Maps and Zoom integration, so you can click the link to go right to your event or map yourself straight there.
Great idea. Great. Thank you.
When you were doing the demo and you were adding the different users, like you knew their names, but it looked like you were just typing text. Is that something that you would just need to know? Would it populate and like suggest the name, or how do you plan to see that kind of move forward?
I'll take that one. So as of now, we are simply doing text because, of course, if you're inviting family and friends to Thanksgiving dinner, you don't want to accidentally invite someone who isn't in that circle of friends or family. So knowing the username definitely helps. In the future, it would definitely be beneficial for us to add kind of like an autocompleter for usernames, and definitely add like a search bar if you were looking for different people. For now, we thought since it was supposed to be a planning made simple for friends and family for specific events, I think just intuitively it would be a little bit more beneficial as of now to know the usernames of the people you're inviting to the event.
Sure, looks great. I love the UI on it. It looks great.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that's all the time that we have for questions. Thank you. Next up, well, we have Sign It. Go next.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We're Sign It. Our backend team was Rigre, JB, and Francis, and our front end team was Jeshna and myself, Rahul. ASL is the third most studied language in the USA, according to Forbes magazine. 1 million people use it as their primary language. Additionally, with nearly 600,000 hearing impaired individuals in the US, as well as calls for a more inclusive society, ASL has become more popular for communication in areas like business. However, knowledge and understanding is not as widespread. Thus, the question this project sought to answer is, how can individuals like you and I communicate with this diverse community? Our answer is SignIt, an app that works to build bridges between ASL and society. Rigray will now give an overview of the app's features.
All right, thank you. So our main two features are translation and editation. Using our translate page, users are able to take a picture of any ASL sign letter that they want, get an instant translation into English pop up at the top of the screen. This is done using a custom machine learning model that we have trained over the course of the semester. And as you can see here, I am signing the classic phrase, hello world, and the model is guessing it perfectly. Here comes the L, and then finally the D. We also have an education page where users are able to click on any letter that they want and learn how to sign it. This feature can be used in tandem with our translation page. So for example, users can learn how to sign a letter and then check if they are signing it properly by seeing if the model identifies it properly. If it doesn't, that means they are probably putting a finger in the wrong place or doing it at the wrong angle or something. So now Francis will go a little deeper into how all of this works under the hood.
All right, thank you, Rigray. So for our tech stack, we decided to use Flutter as our main framework for the front end, and that uses Dart as its main programming language. We chose Flutter because it's cross-platform, meaning we can create one code base and extend that to both an iOS app and an Android app. And then for the back end, we decided to use AWS's cloud computing services to both train the model and run inferences and communicate with a backend with the app as the edge device. We chose AWS because it's more cost efficient to train a model with AWS than compared to something called like Google API Vision or other AutoML solutions out there. And it's also horizontally scalable. Over here, we have a diagram of how everything is happening behind the scenes. So we have the user's phone, which captures an image. We expect it to be an ASL hand sign. And then that image is processed and sent to API Gateway, which is an AWS service for how edge devices like a phone can talk with other AWS provided services like Amazon Recognition. Amazon Recognition is the actual AI part of the app. Here we built a custom AI model and trained it over our own data set of ASL hand signs. And what it will do is we'll analyze the image from API Gateway and translate that into an actual text translation and send that translation back through API Gateway and then display it to the user's phone. Now over to JB.
We're not the only ones in the market, but our competitive edge comes from key advantages we are able to provide over other services. Most other apps are only text to sign, meaning they can only translate one way. Other apps offer real-time translation, but at the cost of having to have real people online 24/7. We believe we are the only ones that can offer a true instant translation experience. Now we'll talk about some of the challenges we've had while developing.
So one of the biggest challenges that we had was actually training the model to be accurate enough. We ended up going through over 10 different versions of it, each time tweaking the data sets a little bit so that, for example, the model would be able to distinguish between letters, signs that look very similar, and also so that it would be able to identify signs in a variety of conditions. So for example, different lightings with different backgrounds, or even in different places on the screen. And this took a really long time because we had to go through thousands of pictures. But in the end, we ended up achieving an average confidence level of 85%, which is pretty good.
An additional challenge that we experienced was setting up the API endpoints for the model to be able to talk with an edge device. And this was something we were able to overcome by learning how to use API Gateway.
And lastly, we faced the challenge of creating an intuitive user interface. We took inspiration from popular social media apps and applied it in our own way, wireframed it in Figma, and then created it in Flutter. So what's next for SignIt is what we want to move away from static image input to video input, as ASL as a language involves a lot of movement and gestures that translate into whole words, and letters like J and Z require movement. Additionally, we would want to expand the education page to be more similar to Duolingo, where our users can learn each letter and phrases and scale up in their learning.
We also want to introduce account functionality. We want you to be able to save your past translations and your learning progress. We'll be able to use the extra data to train better versions of the model periodically as well. We really think that with more time, Sign-It can help improve the quality of life for a marginalized community. And we hope that you feel the same way. We're now open to questions.
Very impressive. And how long did you guys take to work on this? Did I hear a couple of months is how long you guys had for this?
Yeah, it was the semester, pretty much like 2 months, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, over the course of 10 weeks.
Yeah, 10 weeks.
10 weeks. Very, very impressive. I noticed that in the demo, which by the way was very impressive, you had to give your signs with a blank background. Is it difficult to do it with someone in front of you, or
it is?
Or did you have? No.
We did test it with our face in front of it and everything, and it does work. With that, yeah.
I think there's some real practical applications to this beyond this. So I think you could scratch the surface on something that could be very beneficial to the community and could also make a lot of money.
Very thoughtful idea. So have you trained the algorithm enough to capture all of the different signs?
So as we mentioned before, the letters J and Z are with movement, and our current model only uses letters. Only uses pictures. So it is those two letters are not currently functional because for that we would need video, which was a little bit more expensive. But that is definitely stretch goals for the future.
Excellent, nice work.
Does someone know sign language on the team?
No, I don't think so. I don't think any of us know any sign language.
Know a little bit now, I think, right?
No, we didn't learning it for sure. We tested it.
I love the idea too, like you mentioned at the end, of having possibly making like a Duolingo version of this. I have an aunt and an uncle who use ASL, and my whole life I haven't been able to speak to them. And so, right, having the idea of having something like this where I would be able to teach myself and keep learning, it just sounds so amazing to have in my pocket. So awesome job and great like creativity to keep thinking forward.
Thank you.
Awesome, you guys. Yeah, so that's all the time we have for questions. Thank you so much once again. Next up, we have Cookalong.
All right, have you ever found yourself in a messy situation while cooking? Whether you were trying to flip through a recipe book or getting to the next step on your phone, or you simply want to cook your own gourmet meals? Well, worry no more. Welcome to Cookalong, an app that utilizes speech commands to create a smooth and effortless cooking experience and where you could become your own world's finest chef. Our team includes Ryan and Hannah, who work on the front end, and Patrick and Nam, myself, who work on the back end.
All right, so let's talk about what we've created. We've made a website to act as your own virtual personal sous chef to help you create some of your favorite recipes from the comfort of your own kitchen. To begin, you'll need to choose the recipe you want to cook. You can do this by either entering a keyword, the recipe title, an ingredient, or simply pressing the random button and allowing our website to curate a list of popular recipes for you to choose through. Next, you'll need to choose the recipe you want to cook. On this page, you can see a picture showing you what the recipe will end out looking like, as well as the calories and the approximate amount of time it will take to cook it. Next, you'll be brought to the prepare page where you can see an overview of the recipe, including the steps you'll take to cook it, as well as its required ingredients. On this page, you can prepare your ingredients and get ready to cook. Next, you'll cook. On this page, you can see the step you're cooking, as well as ask our virtual assistant to move forward, backward, and repeat steps.
We use many ingredients to build this project. Our first ingredient is Ruby, which we use to load the app, style sheets, and node modules, and also route to the start page.
Our second ingredient is our APIs. We used a couple of APIs to build this website, and probably the most important was Spoonacular. Spoonacular helps us find recipes, as well as the ingredients required to cook those recipes and the steps required to cook them.
For text-to-speech and speech-to-text capabilities, we decided to use Web Speech API developed by Mozilla, which is a versatile browser-based speech API. It creates a communication between you and our app.
And for our last ingredient, we have React, which is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. We chose to use React because it allows us to create reusable components, as well as because of its simplicity and scalability. All right, we are now going to begin our live demo. So the first page user will see is our homepage. We made it straightforward for a user to search for a recipe, either by typing in the search bar or by clicking on random recipe. And random recipe will return a list of top recipes for us to choose from. Each result shows the recipe's title, picture, number of calories, as well as cook time. If we want to see more options, we can scroll down and click on load more results. And as you can see, this loaded a lot more recipes for us to choose from. At any point, we can start a new search, either by clicking on Cookalong in the top left, which will navigate back to the home page, or by typing in the search bar in the top right. I'd now like to ask one of our co-directors, so Jesse, Johan, to assist us in searching for a new recipe.
Yeah, sure, I'll go. Well, I've actually been craving some brownies for a while, so why don't we do that?
All right, sounds good. So these are the results for brownies. Which of these recipes would you like to make?
Let's go for the classic brownie.
Awesome. So once we choose a recipe, we are taken to the recipe overview page, which gives us all the information we need to prepare, including the ingredients and the directions. Whenever we're ready, we can click on either of these begin buttons, which will take us to the steps pages. The steps pages will display and read out each step to guide us through the recipe. They can be controlled via both mouse clicks and voice commands, which I will now demonstrate. Let's get baking.
Preheat the oven to 350 degrees.
Next,
Butter a 9x13 baking pan and set aside.
previous,
Preheat the oven to 350 degrees.
repeat, repeat.
Preheat the oven to 350 degrees.
So as you can see, we can use the next, previous, and repeat commands to navigate through the recipe hands-free. On the bottom left, there's also a timer available for us to set. So I'll set one for 6 seconds, start it. And above the timer, we have a scrollable list of ingredients, as well as a picture. Sounds like our timer is done, so I'll stop, reset, and that concludes our live demo. Thank you all for cooking along with us, and thank you, Jesse, for the assistance. I'd now like to hand it off to Patrick for our roadblocks.
Great, thank you very much, Hannah. So our first roadblock was trying to integrate React and Ruby on Rails. We chose these two technologies without realizing that they didn't mesh well together. So we came to an impasse when we tried to integrate them. To solve this, we had two options of either transforming our React or our Rails backend into an API that we could address from our React frontend, or simply rewriting our API calls from Rails into React or into JavaScript. We chose to do the latter of those two to save time and because it was easier for us to program.
Another roadblock we encountered was transitioning from Google Speech API to Web Speech API. We initially chose Google Speech API due to its advantages of having better language support and having larger file support. However, the authentication credential implementation was not as compatible as Web Speech API. Therefore, we chose Web Speech API due to it being fitting more with our app and what our app could do.
For future development, we are planning on allowing for recipe uploads to allow users to upload their personal recipes, user accounts for users to store their favorite recipes, and tutorials to show cooking techniques in either videos or GIFs. Thank you everyone for coming out today. Thank you to the judges, and we would like to give a special thank you to Emily and Alex for their support. The next time you're in the kitchen with your hands full, make sure to use Cookalong to give you a helping hand. Are there any questions?
Great job, team. I really like this. You know, as campus recruiter, normally I'm on the road, going all over the US, and I'm so used to eating a different meal every night that now being stuck at home for 8 months has been difficult. I have to cook my own brand new meals all the time. And one thing I face is if I find a recipe, I'm going to like a blog site and it's got ads and videos and this and this and this, and I can never actually get to it. So this looks beautiful to just be able to find it, have it right there, ask it to tell me my next step, because right, you got egg on your hand or you have food all over and you have to touch your iPad or your phone. So this just seems so simple and easy to use and just very great. And kudos to you all for wearing those hats. You have to just be a little silly, but it's amazing. It's great. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that. Ditto on that. I mean, I think you got our attention there, and very, very clever. Love the idea of the hands-free. That's what kind of I think makes it very unique. It sounds like where if you're in the oven, and the fact that you can say next, previous, and I've had to do that where you've got your sticky hands and you're trying to use your phone, like I'm sure Jessica's probably done, where we're doing the same thing. So I think that was a very clever idea. And was that real hard, the voice recognition? Did you find challenges with that?
Mostly with the APIs, the challenge was just implementing and creating the command itself. But with the recognition with the APIs, it was just a smooth process after that.
Cool.
I love the hats. Very symbolic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome job, Cookalong. This was a very practical presentation, so thank you for the interaction as well. Now we'll have our final presentation of the night. Please welcome up Stand Up.
Hey everyone, welcome to Stand Up, a project created over the course of the semester by our Stand Up team made up by me, Zulfi, Trent, David, Corey, and Pranay. So with that said, let's talk about comedy. Up on the screen, we have some of comedy's greatest talents, but how did they get their start? That's the question. And the answer is quite simple. They got their start at open mic nights, events where comedians can hone their skills in an environment that has live interaction, live feedback. All comedians start here. They all get their beginnings here, their come-ups, and where they perfect their craft. It's fun, it's low cost, and above all, it's quality entertainment. But lately, there's been a problem that my teammate David will address.
Hey guys, the problem we're addressing by bringing open mic night to mobile is accessibility. There are currently no alternatives to going downtown and going to the comedy club. We created the idea of Stand Up to fix this problem through user research, talking to real comedians. Unfortunately, we found that this solution would be much more difficult than we ever imagined. Audience interaction is very important to comedians. Audio cues, seeing the audience, and feeling the environment are really important to comedians or users of Stand Up. The comedian needs the ability to hear the audience. Are they happy? Are they unhappy? We also need to give a way to the comedians to get feedback. Open mic night is as much about entertainment for the audience as it is for the performer to get better at their craft. They need user feedback. So our solution is this: Stand Up, a virtual comedy club where users can interact with comedians, become a part of open mic night, get the feedback they need to get better. Trent will discuss these features in more depth.
Thanks, David. As for the features, some of the main things we wanted to include were a login system, so users would be able to have actual accounts they can use, a leaderboard to keep track of the top comedians, a profile page that can keep track of user statistics as well as account information, and finally the actual comedy room itself, where you can either host your own club or you can join someone else's and rate theirs. From here, we'll look at the front end portion of this project. So I worked on the front end, and we used Ionic to develop an application for both mobile and web. This means our application can run on an iOS device, Android device, or even on a browser. It can really be used anywhere. The interface itself was designed with the implementation of React. We used React to really try and speed up our development and make our code a lot more organized and clean. So from here, I'm going to hand it off to Pranay for the backend explanation.
Pranay?
I think he's muted.
I think he's muted, yeah.
Thank you, Trent, for handing it off to me. Our backend services consisted of Firebase, which included Cloud Firestore, their database, authentication, and hosting. I'll let Corey handle our video API.
Thanks, Pranay. We also use the Vonage TalkBox video API because it embeds video and audio into web and mobile applications, and it was available in Node.js and JavaScript, which worked well with our front end. And I'm going to hand it back to Trent with the demo.
Thanks, Corey. So the first thing we want to demonstrate is our login system. Obviously, users have a splash page they can navigate to. They get started and log in using Google OAuth. So instead of having to make your own account, you just click the button. As long as you have a Google account, fast, easy login, keeps your data secure, and it's an easy way to get it done. And from here, we can look at the profile page. So the profile demo is fairly self-explanatory. It's our page. You can also log out from here. So if you want to switch account, you click the logout button, you're back to the splash page. You can log back in, and if you go to your profile page again, you can look at your settings, your account statistics, your rank, stuff like that. From here, we'll see the actual comedy rooms. So you can host your own comedy room, as we see here. You make your own room, starts up here, you click Start the Show. And there you go. It pulls up your webcam. So now you can perform. This is a demo that I did. As you can see, we got 2 people watching and they can rate my performance. And then aside from hosting your own, you can also attend other people's, which is we'll see now. So here we pulled up Corey's show. So he just closed it. You can see here, you have available comedy rooms, room 1. You click join and it pulls up his show. You can see the audience count as well as rate his performance. And that concludes our demo. I will now hand it off to Corey to discuss our future plans.
Thanks, Trent. Per our user research, it's essential the audience is able to interact with the comedian and each other. In the spirit of that, here's some future plans. So we were thinking about implementing audience moderation. So this would be sounds that would accompany each upvote or downvote button press. And we would also have the number of upvotes or downvotes dictate the length of the comedian's stream to give the audience a little bit more power and influence in each comedian's performance. We're also thinking about chat rooms for the audience members to communicate amongst each other during or before a stream or even after with the comedian. I'm going to hand it off to Zulfi with more.
Yeah, so we also wanted to include the ability to give out tips and donations to your favorite comedians to help them, sharpen their skills and expand their audience. The system could be taken further with an expanded tier system where user feedback could push your favorite comedians into their own tier, and if necessary, they're, down a tier.
So regarding pricing and monetization, we want users to have basic free access to the app with the option of adding paid features that enhance the user experience but are not necessary for the users to use the app. This sort of model has worked well for social apps such as Reddit, Discord, even YouTube, and many more.
And with that said, I'm going to drop the mic. Does anybody have any questions?
So I have a question, right? So how do you, as a person, let's say if Corey is presenting, he's the comedian, so does he have to invite people to join his show? How does this work?
I'll take that. So if I'm the comedian, what I would do is I would log into the application and then I would start my stream. Once that stream populates, other users of the application will be able to see that that stream exists in a generalized sort of lobby that shows different sessions. So at that point, other users would just be able to click join and join into the same session. I don't have to invite them. It'll be at their will.
So they'll just know what events are streaming and they can just subscribe to any one of them and watch.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Very nice.
The
Nice
goal
one.
would be eventually to have permanent comedy clubs owning a channel that people would know, okay, 8 o'clock tonight, open night mic at Dallas Comedy Club. I can sign in and watch it.
Very thoughtful. Nice work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unique idea. I think I can't imagine, and I could be wrong. This was one of your canned ideas or choices to pull from. Was there some inspiration that came out of this? There's some comedians in the group.
Yeah. So I've actually done stand up a couple of times at open mics. I've done it in pretty informal attire. I've done it in a pizza costume before. It's it's definitely a lot of fun. We also have David as well, who has some experience with comedy.
My best friend is a comedian. He started improv 10 years ago at Ablibs in Dallas. It's closed right now. So when I saw this opportunity, it spoke to me a little bit, because this is kind of like, okay, we can't do comedy in person. We can take it online though.
Yeah, there's your practical application right there too. Great
Yeah.
job.
Thank you.
Something I do want to call out across all these things, right? What I'm noticing is, people having the same kind of passion, which you guys truly are interested in coming together and building something. That is the key, to have the right passion to do what you want to do, right? Very nice.
Yeah.
Great work.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, that's all the time we have for questions. Thank you so much for those thoughtful comments, you guys. We really appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to screen share really quickly. All right, can you guys see my screen by any chance? Awesome. Thank you. All right, so that's all the presentations we have for tonight. Judges, if we can kindly ask you to double check your rubrics and start, in case you made some side notes instead of actually writing them on the doc. If you can start filling that out, please, that would be greatly appreciated. That way we can start counting up.
And while we are tallying the scores, we'll first announce the awards to be handed out. So each member of the team placing first will receive a $20 gift card to Amazon, and each member of the team placing second will receive a $15 gift card to also Amazon. The criteria for judging tonight included collaboration, visual design, demo execution, presentation effect, as well as innovation.
Yes, and audience members, we would also like to hear your opinion as well. There should be a link to vote in the YouTube chat, so that way you can voice kind of like your opinion, so we can have an audience hear it as well. But yeah, we'll be taking a short break right here to finish counting up the votes. So thank you for being patient.
Well, we have a tie for second place. So we are going to individually ask each judge to vote for their final favorite.
Oh,
Thank you for
Jesse.
your patience.
I'm not sure if you want to look at the message on our office report. It seems like there was a miscount.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for being patient, guys.
All right, everyone, we have the results in.
Yeah, let me just start screen sharing here. All right. So yeah, can you guys see this, by the way?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let me go to our slide.
So, first, we'll announce our first place winner. The winner of Fall 2020 ACM project is Cookalong! Congratulations, you guys. Well deserved.
Yeah, really well done. All right, so now we can move on to our second projects award. So yeah, the winner for our second place is Sign It. So yeah, that's congratulations to you guys as well. We're really proud of everyone. Now we would like to also go over our audience favorite, right, Jesse?
Yep. So the audience has voted, and the audience favorite tonight is, oh, it's still fluctuating. People are still voting. But as of now, I see Stand Up. So awesome job, you guys. Congratulations to that. And if your team didn't place, please, please, please don't be discouraged at all. You all did like a fantastic job. You blew our minds away with how you guys presented and executed each of your presentations. So good job with that. That was amazing. And you actually created like really cool, awesome apps. So please be proud of yourself and the work that you have done. So like we all saw like all those efforts throughout the semester, and you guys made like a working product out of that. So congratulations to you all for overcoming this already difficult challenge. And you guys did it virtually. So good job. Pat on your back.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jesse. I think all of the projects officers can attest to your hard work that you guys have put in. So we are really thankful for being enthusiastic and coming to our build nights with that great enthusiasm to push forward. Now, before we close out, we did want to make a special announcement. So as some of you may know, Jesse and I will be stepping down as co-directors. And although we are heartbroken to leave, we will move forward with peace in our mind, knowing that we do have new co-directors, and those being Emily and Jack. We trust Emily and Jack to lead this organization to greater heights as the new team continues to build upon the foundation of ACM projects. Jesse and I fully trust that Jack and Emily will move ACM projects forward with the interests of future participants and also continue pushing projects to continue innovating. And on behalf of all of ACM projects, we thank you once again for being here tonight. Special thanks to our judges and our mentors for helping our our cohort here be able to really develop their tech career early on. So thank you so much. You have made a great impact on them. And we hope you enjoyed seeing what all the teams have been able to accomplish this semester. Again, they did a fantastic job, especially being in a pandemic and still being able to develop nice things. But with that being said, we will conclude presentation night here. Everyone have a good night, and we hope you will stay in touch with us. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yep, great job.